Welcome to the Weather Insights Briefing. I'm meteorologist Scott Pitney along with meteorologist Jeff Lindner. And we are recording this briefing on Thursday, March 27, 2025, currently a little before 8:30 a.m. And what we're looking at is a lot of moisture in Texas, and it's a very kind of a messy weather pattern, which makes it difficult to forecast. We do have an upper level low there in West Texas that is very slowly making its way east. And as it does, it's going to tap into that Gulf moisture and give us pretty much we've had three rounds of rain that we're looking at. We had the first one yesterday and yesterday evening, and we'll show the rain totals from that. And then we have another one today. And then we have kind of the last round tomorrow morning when we do have some positive vorticity moving through the area. So there's a slight chance of some severe weather that comes with that round for tomorrow. But that pattern also shifts a little bit to the east tomorrow. So most of the rain staying in South Texas today, again, like it did yesterday. And then that threat shifting east and then all of it moving out of here by Friday. But we're seeing some pretty significant rain totals. And so we just wanted to get on here and give this briefing. We do have some flash flood watches that are mostly southwest of the Houston metro area, all the way down into South Texas there, that now include Fort Bend County. So we could see that maybe expand east a little bit as well as we move through the day and beyond. But right now, that's where the flash flood watch is. And then we have the drought monitor. This gets updated on Thursday. So it'll be interesting. It hasn't been updated yet, but it'll be interesting to see what this looks like later on today. It may not include the rain totals just yet. So I may have to wait a couple days or another week or so to get the official totals. But we do expect some color changes there, some welcome color changes to get at least out of that D4, D or D3, D4 drought area that we see just there around San Antonio in the Hill Country. West Texas is not getting so much of this, but Hill Country, South Texas, all welcome relief. And even around Harris County, even though it's showing white, I would say if we didn't have this rain event, that could be showing some color around Harris County as we've had some been through a dry period too. So everybody getting some welcome rain from this event. And then here is the current radar. We're just showing some light to moderate rain in southeast Texas, some heavier rain along the Rio Grande Valley, in the Rio Grande Valley. And we had some severe thunderstorms. That's where a lot of the instability is currently, and kind of staying in that area. And that's where it was yesterday too. So we actually had a few severe thunderstorms down in that area. And that is where the heavier rain is. So, Jeff, all in all, this looks like a good day and a good night to stay indoors and watch some baseball.
Yeah, it's we'll see how this all pans out. I wouldn't say the forecast confidence going forward here is very high on what's going to transpire over the next 24 to 36 hours. This is what we've seen in the last 24 hours. So as we mentioned, down in these very hard hit drought areas that we've had drought now ongoing for 4 or 5 months. Very beneficial rains west of Victoria, back over towards Beeville, and then this morning down here along the Rio Grande, over 5 inches north of Brownsville. As a matter of fact, a lot of that fell in just an hour. And so that kind of gives you an idea of the potential with this air mass. Like we could get some really high totals if we can get the thunderstorms to get going and if they kind of move slowly or what we call train or move over the same areas like a train on a train track. We could get some really high totals from this rain event. Interestingly enough, kind of where some of the models had the big bullseye here around Corpus Christi, there's actually been kind of a bullseye of lower totals of a minimum here. And so we'll see if this fills in. Again, this area is very parched and really needs the rainfall. If you look at some of the water supply reservoirs down here at Choke Canyon and some of these other ones, they're very low. And Corpus Christi just recently went into stage 3 drought restrictions, which limits outdoor watering of your lawn and stuff like that. And so this is really desperately needed, especially before we head towards the summer months when it gets really a little bit drier and even hotter down here. And so hopefully we can fill in this gap and get the water in the right watersheds down here in the South Texas area. So what are we looking at going forward? I don't put a whole lot of stock in this forecast. Again, I think there's a lot of uncertainty with the rainfall totals and not only the rainfall totals, but the position of where we're expecting the heavy rainfall totals. And so you can kind of see a broad area here of 2 to 3 inches of rain, really from about the I-45 corridor out towards the I-35 corridor, and then down along into South Texas, down to 280, 281, I-37 corridors, potentially even getting down into the lower Rio Grande Valley. So again, much needed rainfall down in these areas. But you can kind of see here there's an enhancement here, say from Matagorda Bay back down towards North Corpus Christi, and that tends to be where the some of the models are honing in on what we call these bullseyes, or these where we might see the maximum totals of rainfall. And I'm going to switch over to something different. This isn't a human forecast. So this is the human forecasters that are putting out this from the Weather Prediction Center. Now, this is an Ensemble model forecast, our high resolution Ensemble model forecast. So this is a whole bunch of our high resolution models put together and
Mhm.
what all of them say. And so it's the average of what all of they're saying. And you can see there's a big difference here between what the humans are forecasting and potentially what the high resolution guidance is showing. The high resolution guidance is very aggressive with some really big totals here down on the coastal bend tonight. Again, this was run at 6 o'clock yesterday evening. So this would have been 6 o'clock Wednesday evening. So this does incorporate some of the rainfall that happened last night. So this is probably a little bit overdone with that aspect. The 12Z, the morning run of this is still coming in, so we don't have it yet. But as you can see here, there's definitely a signal here for some really big rains, but you can also see it cuts off relatively rapidly here on that northeast side. So roughly if you
Mhm.
took the Brazos River,
Mhm.
kind of north and east of the Brazos River, you don't see much big on the rainfall totals. It's kind of south and west of the Brazos River, which is where we have the flash flood watch in place going into Friday evening. And so, is this exactly how this is going to pan out? Probably not. We're dealing with a lot of what we call mesoscale processes, and these are very small scale processes in the atmosphere that we start to see this time of year into the summer months. Low level outflow boundaries, thunderstorm complexes, thunderstorm clusters that can kind of change where we see the maximum totals, where we see severe weather. So if we get a big complex of thunderstorms that comes out of northeast Mexico and say comes down the Rio Grande and across South Texas out here into the Western Gulf, a lot of the heavy rain may focus further to the south, and then up here to the north, we kind of we get robbed of the moisture. The all of the moisture flowing in from the Western Gulf kind of goes into that complex and doesn't get to areas further to the north. And that's certainly a possibility with this. I wouldn't say our high resolution models are on the same page. Some of them show a complex down here tonight. Others show some really heavy rain and repeat cell training right here in the coastal bend, Matagorda Bay, all the way up into Wharton and even Fort Bend counties tonight. That's on the table. Others show thunderstorms as far north as the Huntsville, Conroe, Hempstead, Columbus area, focusing possibly on maybe some mid-level boundary that kind of sits up in that area, or some convergence. And there's the potential for even a surface low to form in some of this and bring a complex of storms across our
Mhm.
coastal areas with a kind of like a Boeing segment or some wind damage. So I've already laid out 4 or 5 potential things that could happen tonight, and each one of them has about the same uh, potential of happening. I'd say the severe threat, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I'd say, getting up here into this here into the metro area, given the clouds and the rain today, I just don't see a lot of instability. I don't see a lot of air mass recovery up in this area to allow for the bigger storms. And so I really think that's going to be focused down further south and west. And this matches well with the Weather Prediction Center's heavy rainfall flash flood outlook. You see a moderate risk here for this area, slight risk into the yellow portions, and that's a 15% chance and the slight risk of a flash flood event anywhere in this yellow area. And this will expand up the coast tomorrow into Friday. And I think Friday is probably the day here locally in the metro area where we could get into some of the stronger storms and some of the heavy rainfall. And if you've been following the forecast over the last couple of days, it's kind of slowed down. So we were really thinking tonight into Friday morning, maybe the period,
Mhm.
but now it looks more during the day Friday, maybe even into Friday evening,
Yeah.
with this slow low coming out across Texas. So the severe outlook, this is for today. Again, the slight risk, this is 2 out of 5 risk level down here southwest. We have a marginal 1 out of 5 up towards, I would say, the I-10 corridor. I think this is definitely really on the marginal side for us today. Just with the clouds and rain, we're not going to get a lot of instability. And I think the threat really down into the south and west is going to be wind. So if we do get a complex, we get a surface low, a meso low, we call it, to form, and we get a bowing out of a line, you can get some wind damage along that. And again, that potentially changes the rainfall totals. If you get a big line that rushes through, you may get 1 or 2 inches in an hour or so, but then that may kind of end that. And so really just depends. A lot of factors in play here, a lot of stuff on the mesoscale, a lot of different things could happen. But the point being, we do have a flash flood watch in effect south and west of us. The potential is there. We've seen it already for some big rainfall totals, and we'll just have to see how it flushes out and lines up here over the next 24, 36 hours.
Yeah, bottom line, stay in touch with the weather. However, you get your warnings and alerts. Make sure you have those devices on, especially if you're in the Houston area for tomorrow morning. As Jeff said, the threat increases as this storm system slowly shifts eastward. And of course, you can get all the latest updates right here on Weather Insights. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel to get the latest briefings, and also check out our Weather Insights website. We've made some recent updates to it, so you can get a lot of real-time information on Weather Insights now, and you can check out Jeff's blog on there and see the latest with what he's written, and also get educated a little bit in weather. Some really interesting stuff that Jeff writes in there, so be sure to check that out. Jeff, thank you very much.